Hey crew, I've got the key to this 26 Chevy Silverado RST Turbo Max. And this week, we're gonna see what it's like to live with. Starting with the spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19 and a half feet long. Mobile Mama is already gone this morning, so I can't show you it actively parked next to another vehicle, but I will tell you a full-size pickup truck feels very large in a driveway of this size, especially when it's parked next to another big truck when the workers are here doing some improvements to our house. In that situation, you can barely make it between the vehicles because this Silverado, it's a base trim, does not have power folding door mirrors. Over on this side, it's just a few inches in from the edge, so the back end can make it around that hedge. The front end of the truck is hovering over the gutter, and at the back, of course, there isn't room to make it around the hedge on the path to my front door. I know I did say this is a base trim, but it's really not. It's just not a fully loaded trim, so it does have certain convenience features like remote start, which is gonna crank on that 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder, and lead to a very modest idle. This is not going to disrupt anyone in your neighborhood if you're starting out early in the morning before a commute. It also has smart keyless entry, so just pressing in on this button will unlock all 4 doors, and I can open up that door, and there is a side step built in and a grab handle so that it's easy to get in regardless of your height. I'm 6 feet tall, just for reference. Closing up that door, nice solid thud, and I'm greeted by this really cool animation on the digital gauge cluster and the infotainment screen. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this day in the life in the 26 Chevy Silverado RST. In this video, I want to see what it's like to live with a full-size pickup truck that doesn't have all the bells and whistles. Now, since I did remote start it, I will need to put my foot on the brake and press that stop-start button to actually allow me to move the transmission into drive. But before I do that, I want to show you where I'd place the items I bring with me every day. I've got my 32-ounce metal water bottle, which can go inside the door pocket, sitting on its side, not upright, but there is also room for my race box 0 to 60 timer and a suction mount for my phone. Inside this console, which is actually a middle seat when I take these things out. Isn't that pretty cool? Anyway, but it still has storage space inside it, so you're not going to get as much room as if this was a dedicated console, but you do have space for my sunglasses, and this is at least a rubberized insert. It's the only place I've found to protect the lenses somewhat. Inside this, I have spots for my DJI mic set. I've got a couple snacks, my Ray-Ban Meta sunglass case, slimline wallet, and my GoPro accessory case. So you can find room for any accessories you want to bring with you. And there's even hidden storage in front of the front passenger and above the glove box. So let me throw on my seatbelt now. Then pulling the gear selector down into drive, I will need to hit the parking brake button once to release it. I can roll on forward. Clearance obviously isn't an issue, even though I do have the curb ramp set up here. I'm going to turn that wheel, actually flick the windshield wipers once to clear off that condensation, and see if I'm going to make it past my neighbor's trash cans. Ooh, just barely. I don't have a forward-facing camera, so I had to eyeball that one on my way out. You know, I said this vehicle doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but I'm mostly thinking about the price point. This is an entry-level trim just with the RST package for $54,000. I just got out of a Ford F-150 Power Boost Hybrid Lariat that was almost $80,000. So this feels like a bargain, and yet it still has conveniences like heated front seats in 3 different stages, and one of my favorite features, a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel. So the start of my day, it's pretty good, but it does do without certain more broadly seen features like a wireless charging pad. My phone is just sitting on top of this tray on the console, which does have a grippy texture, so the phone won't go flying, but it's not charging. You do have USB-C charging and USB-A charge ports to top that up, but then you got a cord all through the cabin. It's just not what we're used to at this point in time. You also have to tough it out with fabric seat surfaces, and it is a bit of a scratchy material, not soft on the skin, but you got to pay leatherette money if you want that. And the driver's seat, at least, is power adjusting, and the cushioning of the chair is fantastic. I've taken long drives in this vehicle already, and I arrive at my destination feeling very fresh. It's supportive, although I would love if the passenger seat also at least had lumbar. I know the manual adjustments, that's fine, but for their sake, give them a little support down low in the back. You can also tilt and telescope the steering wheel manually for a comfortable position for your hands to rest, but unlike some trucks with power adjusting pedals, you can't have the pedals closer to you if you've got shorter legs or further away if you've got longer ones. I am impressed that even without GM's fancy magnetic ride control, the ride quality in the Silverado is very compliant. Given the leaf springs and solid rear axle, I would expect to be bounced around on the road surface much more than what I'm actually enduring. This is more than tolerable, and it does help that even on 20-inch wheels, I have some thicker tire sidewall, and as I go to the brakes, the responsiveness of that pedal is just what you would expect. You can easily apply pressure and come to a smooth stop, and then if I'm here for a while, the auto start-stop system is going to work, so it's going to kill the engine, but when I took my foot off the brake, it'll come back on with minimal fanfare. And while it really isn't bothersome, if I did want to turn it off, at least there's a physical button to do that. I don't have to hunt around in the infotainment. I think it's just about time for a turning radius test. First, the turn signal sound. Like a horse getting up to a gallop. With the wheel fully cranked here, turning radius is respectable for a full-size pickup truck. Maybe not as good as an F-150, but pretty close. Around town, this turbo 4-cylinder may not have the authoritative rumble of a V8, which you kind of associate with pickup trucks, but it still has plenty of power and torque. 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, served up through an 8-speed automatic smoothly, with the perkiness you would expect down low, and some fun turbo whoosh. And if you listen closely, there's a little bit of blow-off noise as well. If you like hot hatchbacks, you'll be familiar with the noise. This truck is just very easy to drive. It's smooth. It has the power you need when you need it. It's easy to place it in the lane because the steering is responsive and has some feel to it. It's comfortable, spacious. It's just enjoyable. Okay, but what does the horn sound like? If someone is driving recklessly and I need to use my horn, what are they going to hear? That's a rather sharp note, and I feel like it's honking at me, not at them. Don't like that. Wasn't exactly the wake-up call I was looking for. Let's try coffee instead. I'm gonna hop in here to Enchanted Coffee Roasters. That will require parking it, and I have chosen this spot next to a Cybertruck. And I am gonna back up, going up to reverse, brings up that high-res camera system with trajectory lines. Can I make my way around the glittering cyber thing and into the spot? No parking sensors, so you're just going to eyeball it with the mirrors and the camera. Pull on back, and let's get some coffee. All right, decaf coffee has been acquired. Before I hop back in the truck, though, I just want to show you how much of a parking space it does take up, which is a lot. And when I'm sitting next to a Toyota Camry, it's not going to be hard to open up my door. But if this was the Cybertruck, then it might be more difficult. I can go to 2 defined notches before making my way inside. No problem. And for my beverage, I do have these 2 cup holders with the rubberized inserts to hold that cup securely. Now I want to see how quick this Turbo Max gets to 60 in the real world. So I've got my race box set up here to record. I'm in the sport drive mode, 4-wheel drive auto, and traction control is switched off. So at this staged light, I'm going to brake boost it, let it go, and get to 60 in 7.08 seconds. It's a little motor in a big truck doing its best. And it's fine. I've yet to address how this truck looks, so let me do that. Chevy's approach to the big grill thing, which every full-size pickup truck does, is more about the width than it is about the height. And that actually emphasizes the real width of the truck. I like it, and I like this body color match to bar that runs across, and the textured finish on the bow tie badge. There are black painted tow hooks to match the black grille insert, and you get LED fog lights down low with LED headlights here and functional air curtains to cool the front brakes and tires. On the RST trim, you do get blacked out 20-inch wheels wrapped up in Goodyear Wrangler all-terrain tires, Silverado badge there along with a Turbo Max badge telling you what's powering this truck. Black gloss is on the upper portion of the door mirror, and you get tubular style side steps. Not usually into silver on pickup trucks, but it works here because the Silverado has such hard creases. They're well defined with that silver paint job. 4x4 badge on the bed. Bed steps are integrated into the bumper, and Chevrolet is stamped on the dampened manual tailgate. Inside, we've got a spray-in Bedliner with the RST trim for this 5-foot 8-inch bed. I don't love everything about the look of this truck. The taillights, for example, look goopy, and the side steps look goofy, but it's still pretty cool, and I'll take it over the look of that Tundra, that's for sure. Let's see about the inside. In the back, we're gonna find the same fabric material for the seats as the front. Injection molding up here, and nice padding for your arm with contrast stitching. Even some of that is going on down there. Plastic trim, power, not one-touch windows there. All-weather floor mats, and with the steps and grab handle, it's really easy to get in. And then behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, I've got foot pocket room, good thigh support, plenty of headroom here, and just abundant space. I mean, this is kind of standard for this segment of vehicle. Down low, I've got 2 USBs, 1A, 1C, and AC power along with vents that really would be better suited if they were up in the pillars, especially if you have kids in car seats. To that end, there are 2 sets of lower latch anchors, 3 top tethers. If I move into the middle seat, I still have room here, so you could fit 3 full-size adults along the back bench. On my way to the front, let me show you the door close noise. It's a pretty solid thud. And I have shown off the front accommodations already, but because it exists, I need to see what it's like to sit in the middle bench seat. So I'm just gonna lift this up, click it back, and then get my leg around the drive shaft hump. And as I do so, my butt is now raised up. My head still clears the roof, that's good, but the leg room is gonna be an issue because I can't have my legs in the pedal box for the driver, and the front passenger would not be happy with me if it was over there. So I have to scoot him up. And, well, this works. A full-size adult could sit here, although I don't know if you'd still be friends by the time you got to your destination, or depending on the situation, if this worker would have quit by now. Yeah, this seat is gonna be better for kiddos, that's for sure. And one last thing, I don't have a sliding glass window in the back, whether manually operated or power operated, but I do get this button here that sends down all 4 windows at once. And there's also a tailgate release button. Today, we're going to see how valuable a bed is in a full-size pickup truck. I'm going to pick up a mattress that Christina and I, Mobile Mama and I, already shopped for. And I'm joined by Brett, my friend Brett over here, who is constantly prodding me to work out more. And we are here at the Good Bed Guys. Can I actually get in? We got it. Let's go pick up a mattress.
I thought for sure that sign was going down.
I cleared it, I was fine. All right, tie downs are fixed, and now let's get the bed in here. And these built-in steps did make it easy to get up and into the bed.
All right, guys.
Now the work.
Now we need the muscles. This is not, it's not lightweight.
This freaking monster in his heyday would pick this thing up and put it over his head.
Oh, wow, okay.
Make sure you get a steak dinner after this.
With 2 of us, this will be interesting. All right, bed is secured. Little overhang on my side, nothing on Brett's side over there. So that part's good. I don't really have to worry about any width beyond the door mirrors. I do wish I had more camera angles to choose from, especially because the only one I had, the backup camera, is now useless with the tailgate down. But in higher trim versions of the Silverado, you'd have a bed cam and a whole bunch of other angles. We have the ground, which looks really good. Fortunately, I can still see the mattress is in the bed through the rearview mirror. We've already seen how useful the bed is, so today I'm testing the practicality of the cab with a Costco run to benefit the charity Families Forward. The cart is loaded, and now the cabin needs to be cooled with remote start. Power on that turbo 4-cylinder, and since I already used the bed to return a king-size mattress and 2 bases here to Costco, we're just gonna fit everything into the cab. But I have a feeling that's not gonna be a challenge at all. Just lift up the seat bottoms and you've got a ton of storage room. Now let's get to work. I'm already appreciating how wide these doors are, and the grippy all-weather floor mat keeps things from moving around. It's a darn good thing I had so much room to start, because I filled out the floor and I still have much more. Who am I kidding? There's so much room in here, you could just fling stuff like some kind of psycho and be fine. But not me. I take Costco Tetris very seriously. It's the final products. Diddle-doo-doo. 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 Diddle-do-do-do-do, diddle-do-do-do-do-do, da-do-da-do, da! Now, after returning my cart, like a responsible shopper, I can confirm that the Chevy Silverado is Costco approved. Now on my way to drop these items off at Families Forward, I wanted to take note of visibility. So out over that hood, it's a tall, flat surface that does make it difficult to understand where the front of the truck is, but it's not terrible. The A-pillar isn't that thick, the B-pillar is getting larger, and the C-pillar is the thickest. I will say I think the F-150 has better visibility out this way, and you don't have standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic, so you do have to rely on what your eyes can see. And with stuff stacked into the cab here, I still have good visibility straight out the back, but if I had more items or people in the cab, then a digital rear view mirror would be nice. And I know you can get that on higher trims of the Silverado. Now, as we join up with the highway, I do want to see about the passing power. So I'm going to click the mode dial over to Sport, then put my foot in it. And get there! The mid-range is not terribly strong, but if you plan your maneuvers a little in advance, then you're gonna be fine. You can get over to the lane of your choosing. I wanna see about the cabin volume at highway speed, so let me quiet up. And I'll say that, especially on the concrete slab, you do get more tire noise from these highway grade all-terrain tires, but it's not awful, because then when you get back to the tarmac, it's much quieter. And I can hear the outside traffic. There isn't much wind noise though. If you were gonna commute in this lesser trim of Silverado, you wouldn't get standard driving assistance features like adaptive cruise control or a steering assist system that would keep you in the center of the lane, but you do get a lane departure warning system with a lane keeping aid. So, well, I've got cars all around me, but let's just pretend I got distracted momentarily and I started to depart my lane. It would bring me back into the lane while not centering me. And that's helpful, but you're really gonna be missing out on that adaptive cruise function in higher trims, because if you're in stop and go traffic for hours on end every day, you don't want to be having to go throttle brake, throttle brake, throttle brake all the time. However, you do get this standard 13.4-inch screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to play your music via the standard sound system. I don't know how many speakers it has, but let's find Spotify. Take just a second to load here. Super Kitties, that's not my playlist. Just want to point that out. It's my kids. They've got a great soundtrack, actually. Anyway, when you found the song of your choosing, you can use the physical volume knob to turn up that dial. You need to keep going here. That looks to be about 70, maybe 75%. You know, I expected a lot worse, to be perfectly honest. The highs and mids actually had a decent degree of clarity. As it got to the low range, with the bass coming in, there was definitely distortion there. So if you're someone like me who really appreciates bass, you're gonna wanna upgrade the sound system. But if you're not, then you'll probably be satisfied, and it did seem to block out a lot of the outside noise. It's about time to refuel this 24-gallon tank, and the EPA rates the Turbo Max 4x4 Silverado at 17 mpg city, 20 on the highway, and 18 combined. That would give us a fuel range of 432 miles. During my time with the truck, it says 12.3 miles per gallon. And you're probably like, that's awful, which would be true, but it's been really hot here in SoCal. So I've been sitting in the truck often with the AC going, just idling, including an hour meeting at one point in time. So I think the real world fuel economy is probably closer to that 18 mpg figure. Because it's such a big tank, I'm grateful I can fill up with 87 octane fuel, which is still $4.83 here in SoCal. So it's gonna cost $115 to fill this tank. At least there's capless fueling to save me time. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered what it would be like to live with a full-size pickup that wasn't fully loaded. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I'm convinced you don't need to double mortgage the house to drive a great truck. This Silverado RST's most controversial quality is its turbo 4-cylinder. And while it may not have the rumble of a V8 or the comparable towing capacity, it's still got plenty of power for daily driving or toy hauling. Fabric seats are tough to keep clean, but the Silverado's chairs are comfortable and offer the flexibility of a middle bench seat. Even entry-level trims offer a cool duo of screens and amenities like heated seats and a heated leather steering wheel. And even without magnetic ride control, the Silverado is still compliant and smooth. Passenger side power seat controls and lumbar and a wireless charging pad would be nice, and it is tough to live without adaptive cruise control in daily heavy traffic. But you get all the space, utility, and style of a big boy truck for a reasonable 54 grand. I dig it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I'll see you again next time.